Hello everybody. What we got here is a 2009 Yamaha V-Star Tour model. It's 950. Having a problem with the not taking throttle. I've replaced the fuel pump, the coils, spark plugs of course, air filter, the typical stuff. And when it's used to, when it would be cold, it would run fine for a mile or two down the road, and once it warms up, it starts spitting. It won't take full throttle. Well, it's gradually gotten worse and worse, to the point to where I had thought about parting it out. But it's a good bike. It's, you know, low miles, it's got a clean title, it's in good shape otherwise, and I just hate to part out a good bike. But I called around a couple mechanic shops. Of course, I was told by one shop to get rid of it and get a Harley and they could help me. So I called another shop, supposedly mechanic shop. They didn't even have a mechanic. So in this day and age, you pretty well just get you a manual and you do it yourself if you want it done right, and just pretty much teach yourself how to work on stuff. And that's probably gonna be your best bet. But anyway, I can get on that soapbox. So I put it on the market, was gonna part it out if it didn't sell. And brother reached out to me and he said that he had one and replaced his stator. And this thing's got a crankshaft position sensor on it because it's fuel injected, which I didn't even consider that. And he said that the crankshaft position sensor come with the stator. And he said his did the same thing. He replaced all the stuff that you would think would make it run like that. And he just got down to where it was the stator. So he said he replaced that and it's been running fine ever since. And I've looked on YouTube videos, nobody said anything about it. You know, it's stuff to do with fuel pump or whatever, you know. Nothing that I found with this particular problem. And as far as trying to scan it, I've got a automotive scanner, and you can get pigtails for these things that will hook up to the regular automotive scanner. And of course Yamaha don't make one for this particular bike, so the scanner doesn't work. So it's just been kind of a process of elimination. So I'm gonna try this. I've got a stator ordered, and of course the crankcase gasket and oil and filter and everything. So I'm gonna put that on it and try it and see. And of course I got the parts ordered, they're on the way. So time they get here and I get it all done, it'll be a couple of weeks. But as far as y'all watching this video, it'll be just about that quick. And we'll get the verdict. Okay, before we get started, I'm gonna put a disclaimer right here. This is a 2009 Yamaha V-Star 950 Tour Edition. We're replacing the stator and the crankshaft position sensor. And the disclaimer is, there's not gonna be any vulgar language in this video. We're not gonna be taking the Lord's name in vain. We're not going to be slinging tools and parts across the shop because we lost our temper. We're not going to be drinking any cold beer. And there's not going to be any nudity. That being said, if any of that not happening offends you in any way, I invite you to turn the video off now. If not, I invite you to kick back, enjoy the shenanigans, and we'll get started. I've put 3,000 miles on it with no problems until I believe the stator and the crankshaft position sensor is what the problem is. I've replaced spark plugs, coils, fuel pump, pretty much everything else you can think of. And I'm down to the stator and the crankshaft position sensor. All right, after many weeks of waiting for back ordered part, I believe the stator's supposed to be in today. So we got the Yamaha up on the lift where we can get to it because we're old and our back hurts. according to the manual, we're going to take the kickstand bracket off. Two 14mm bolts there. And we're going to come over here and we're going to take the floorboard off. Two more 14s. And we're just going to take the shifter linkage loose right there, so we don't have to worry about adjustments or nothing. We'll just slide it off, and that should expose this cover completely. Of course, we're going to crank it up, get it warm, we're going to drain the oil, pull the filter off, all that good stuff. And we're going to pull that cover off and see what we got. And once I get all that done, we'll get back with you. Okay, new parts just came in. The stator, line that goes, the plug that goes to the regulator rectifier, which is right there in the front. Do that little plug, the bottom one there, that gray one. Got the new gasket for the side cover. Part number, and the stator part number. I went with the Yamaha parts because I don't really want to do this again, and I'm probably going to be selling this bike, and I don't want the next buyer of this bike, the owner of it, to have to fool with it. So I'm just gonna put the Yamaha parts back in and do it right the first time, right? Anywho, this line comes out of your cover here. That goes to your stator and your crankshaft position sensor. This line runs over here. This plug right here, that's your crankshaft position sensor. Now your actual stator lines that run to the rectifier run down in there. Down through here, right in here, go down under your engine, look out the front right here, and goes right there in that bottom plug. I did get the took the floorboard off, got the kickstand off. Got the oil drain. Now I'm not sure exactly what this is called, but there was two bolts right here, and I didn't unplug this, I just unbolted it, fish it out of there. Put him right over here, out of the way, and you can see that wire loom down through there. Cut those zip ties, fish that wire out, that plug, and then we can get the cover off. And once we get that done, we'll check back in. Alright, got the cover off. We're going to go back and clean all that up where the gasket goes. We got your dial pins here, one there and one right there to line it up. Make sure you keep these are just sitting in there, so they will come out pretty easy. Here's your starter shaft here, and then inside the cover you got this gear set up here. That will just fall out, so you got to be careful with that. You got on the stator itself, you got these 3 bolts. Take those loose. This is your crankshaft position sensor. You take these 3 bolts out. You just pop this out. Your little grommet there to hold your wiring harness in. And of course, we're gonna clean that edge of that all up. Put the new gasket on. I took my box that my stator came in. I kind of just made a rough drawing of the cover. I noted where the oil cap was, and I just took the bolts out and poked holes in the box and made kind of a rough outline of that so I can put the right bolts back in the right holes. And they appear to all be the same length, but just because of my OCD, that's the way I'm gonna do it, just to be on the safe side. So we'll get her all cleaned up, and we'll get the new one put in there, and we'll go from there. Okay, we got our block all cleaned up, got our new gasket in place. We got our starter gears all meshed back together, lined up. Everything's nice and clean. We double checked, make sure we didn't leave no wrenches or sockets in there. We got the new stator bolted in the cover, and the new crankshaft position sensor. Put some the blue medium duty Loctite on the bolts. Got it, torqued it down to specs. Has some silicone in here where the little grommet goes. There's our old stator over there, crankshaft position sensor. And it all nice and clean. So we're fixing to put him back on there, and we're just about done. All right, we got the cover back on. We got the Loctite in all the bolts. We got them all torqued down to the specs. I've got the wire run back up here on the where it's plugged in. I don't have it zip tied up yet. I just got it running along where it normally goes, but I didn't zip tie everything up until we make sure that this is going to work right. Got everything plugged back in. I've got oil in it. I've got the new filter on it. Of course, the oil plug's tight in it. I hooked the battery back up. So we're fixing to crank it. Everybody cross your fingers. That's a good sign. Cranked right up. Now what I am gonna do, I'm gonna top my oil off, make sure it's full. I've got a good line of sight under here on this cover. Before I zip tie all this wires up, I'm gonna let it sit here overnight with the full of oil, and we're gonna see if we got any drips. And if not, tomorrow we can put the kickstand and the floorboard back on it. We'll zip tie all the wires up. We'll put the cover that goes back over the pulley here on it. Put them all back together, throw the seat on it, and I think it'll be time to take it down the road and see how it does. And we should know then if this has fixed the problem. So I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, we got the new stator in it, got it all put back together. No leaks, no problems as far as that goes, but it made absolutely no difference in the way this thing runs. Still won't take throttle, and it's a struggle to get it up to 60 miles an hour, and the more you drive it, the worse it gets. So unfortunately, this one's going on the chopping block. We can start stripping parts off of it and try to get some of the money back out of it. But anyway, maybe somebody that absolutely knows that their stator's bad and needs to change it, maybe this video would help them out. And because I didn't see another video on YouTube about a stator replace on one of these 950 V-Stars. So hey, if this video helps out one person, it was worth doing. So maybe y'all have better luck with y'all's. Appreciate y'all watching, and hit that thumbs up if you liked the video, and appreciate you stopping by. Y'all have a good one.